What is up? What is up, everybody? It's me, Mike Vanderpool, and I'm here today on the Make It Happen podcast with Angie McMurry, Director of Hold on, I got to read this because this is a long thing that's wrong. Director of Industry Engagement and Workforce for Ohio Life Sciences. Angie, you and I have been, and it's my fault, have been email tagging back and forth for like at least a year now since John Snyder came up and presented something. Ohio Life Sciences happened recently within the past year in Northwest Ohio. You're here today to talk about Ohio Life Sciences, some of the things that you have working in the education space, K-12, career tech, also an event that you have in May, events later this year, and I believe we're going to be one of the first to announce that there's a new website that people can check out. So
yes,
making it happen by breaking news, tech news here on the Make It Happen podcast. So Angie, first things first, thank you so much for coming and hanging out. It's a pleasure to kind of meet you and then just have this conversation. So thank you.
Thanks, Mike, for having me. This is super exciting. This is my very first time on a podcast, so I know, right? Yeah, all kinds of breaking news today.
And I may be a little bit different from other people. So you have no idea because you've never been on another podcast. I come in and just try to have the conversation like we're just meeting, even because we are outside of email, and then really just being able to dig in and kind of ask those questions from the perspective of just everybody trying to get to know you, understand more about who you are, what Ohio Life Sciences is, how people can get involved, how we can help, how we can all make Northwest Ohio, cool place where people do cool things.
Awesome.
And science is pretty cool, I have to admit.
Yes.
So, and life sciences, I think, is a little different than general sciences. So first things first, we'll get into that. But first things first, Angie, who are you? How did you get to be part of this whole Ohio Life Sciences?
First of all, Ohio Life Sciences is an industry association that is representing over 4,900 life science establishments across the state of Ohio. So that's everything from healthcare, research, ag research that's happening, all the way to construction and shipping and IP attorneys. So all of these entities work together for this industry sector we call life sciences. A lot of people think that it's just healthcare, which is super important, doctors, nurse, physical therapists, but it's even more than that. And I truly believe that there is an opportunity for everyone in the life science realm. And that is why I am in this position. My background is in education. I was a high school science teacher for a long time. So, teaching AP bio and human anatomy, talking with my students most of the time when they were graduating, they were going into the health related sector. They wanted to be one of those doctors, nurses, physical therapists. And I really didn't know much other than that. And so industry wasn't knocking down my door to come in and talk about other opportunities. And so there definitely was a gap. Now, my mission, I guess, so to speak, is to make sure that whether it's urban, rural, suburban, all of these school districts, all of these communities know what life sciences is and what opportunities exist. And so I live in a smaller town in Western Ohio. We have an Abbott facility right down the street from my house. I'm actually on the school board here, and I guarantee that most of the people in this town have no idea what's happening in this big white box of a building with a large fence around it. And I want to make sure we have all those all over the state. And I want to make sure that everybody, when they drive by, they're like, oh, I know what that is. And I know what's going on there. And oh yeah, I know somebody that works there, or I work there, or whatnot. And so that's really my focus of this job. And in my role is to engage our industry and then engage the educators, the students, the community. It's kind of that trifecta that I'm working on across the state.
Fascinating, because as somebody in the tech space, I think we suffer from some of the same things of just a lack of awareness of what that means. It's like, oh, you're going to be a software developer. Well, inside of tech, there's about 20, 30, 100 other things that you could do. And I think for our kids, it really is just the awareness and their ability then to see themselves in those positions.
Yes. I think a lot of them have imposter syndrome, that they think that they have to have a bachelor's or a master's or a PhD and wear a white coat. And a lot of kiddos might not have ever seen anybody in that role, don't know anybody in that role. And so we need to break that imposter syndrome idea and let them know that there are individuals in this ecosystem who look like you, who have the same educational background as you, come from the same economic background as you, and they're doing great.
Yeah, and I guess that's one of the, we're just going to jump into it, right? That's one of the challenges that we face on the tech side is there is not as much diversity inside of the tech space as we would like for representing the opportunities in the tech space. Is that something that is similar in the life sciences field as well?
Absolutely. I think that, again, I think one of the reasons that there's not as much diversity is because we don't have the corner pharmacy anymore where you can walk down the street and talk to the pharmacist. Even when you go to the doctor, sometimes it's virtual and you don't even see a doctor. I think it's just having that exposure in your life. And if you don't have a teacher who's familiar, or you don't have a parent or a family member who's familiar, then they're not in that space. And then also, if I will tell you, transportation is a huge barrier. If there's not an industry partner that's within, 30 minutes from somebody's house, then they probably have no idea that they exist. So, there are still barriers, and to getting out of that community and seeing what else is out there. And so I think that impedes diversity within this ecosystem as well as technology.
So it's funny because you use the word kiddos, and I'm like, oh, yep, she used to teach. She used to teach K-12. How did you get from K-12 to your position now at Ohio Life Sciences?
Yeah. So I went from being in the classroom to working on curriculum for the state and for about 8 counties in Southwest Ohio, and making sure that K through 12 educators really could take a deep dive into science. We focus so much on math and reading in the state, but I wanted them to realize that you can bring math and reading right into the science realm. And so I
I
spent
mean,
many years.
science is math and reading, right?
Math and reading. Yeah, it is. And so making sure that the educators weren't afraid of it, because not every, K through probably 8 educator has taken multiple science classes. And so if they don't understand the content, then they are like, well, maybe I won't teach that today. So my job was to make sure that they felt comfortable and to give them the resources that they needed to be confident in teaching that content. Eventually, after COVID, made my way to working with a small nonprofit in Columbus, and then ended up at Ohio Life Sciences after that. So, and now here we are, almost 2 years in.
What's your day-to-day like?
Oh my goodness, my day to day. So I work hybrid, and which is a wonderful opportunity for me to have a home base at my home, but also travel over to Columbus to our hub over there and get to be around my colleagues and our startup companies that are right there in the hub, located at the right next to the Pelotonia Research Center and the Energy and Innovation Center on Ohio State's campus, but then also have a chance to get in my car and go north up to where you are in Northwest Ohio and work with our friends at Bowling Green, or go south to Cincinnati and work with our industry partners down there. So my day is a lot, is building relationships in the industry. It's a lot of my day. And then making connections. I would say that's a lot of the rest of my day.
Well, and so I'm going to ask you this, but just know most of my audience is Northwest Ohio. What's your
Okay.
favorite part? What's your favorite part of Ohio?
Um, So I do have a fondness for kind of that Northwest Ohio area. I went to Ohio Northern for undergrad, so I'm a proud polar bear. But if we wanted to escape from campus, we made our way up to Bowling Green, and sometimes would go shopping up in Perrysburg, and would make it over sometimes into Michigan from up there. So I do have a fondness for Northwest Ohio. I think that a lot of people think it's just agriculture, but there's a lot that is happening up there. I even look at BG over the last 20 years. Holy cow, the campus is exploding. So there's a lot happening.
EG is awesome. That's where I did my master's. Downtown Toledo is seeing a nice revitalization.
Yes.
Everybody, there's agriculture everywhere. Go drive 30 minutes in any direction from where you're at. You're probably running into agriculture in Ohio, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Hey folks, thank you for checking out the podcast. We're going to take a quick break to thank one of our sponsors, because around here in Northwest Ohio, we believe in hard work, but we also know work shouldn't be harder than it has to be. Let me tell you about a local AI consulting and implementation team, Actual Reality Technologies. If you're a business owner who hates spending nights and weekends buried in spreadsheets, reports, and paperwork that should already be done, or if your people are stuck doing the same repetitive tasks over and over instead of focusing on the work that actually moves the business forward, that's where Actual Reality Technologies comes in. They build smart systems that automate your processes, monitor your operations, and surface answers without adding more work to your team. And they're doing it right here in Toledo, building technology in and for Northwest Ohio, helping local businesses run safer, smoother, and smarter. So if you've got processes you want to automate, the problems you need solved, give them a call. Actual Reality Technologies, helping our community work smarter. You can hit them up at www.actualreality.tech. Let's get back to the Make It Happen podcast.
I was going to ask what is Ohio Life Sciences, but I want to take a baby step back because what is life sciences? I know you kind of set it up here, but I'm curious to go a little bit deeper. How do we define life sciences?
Yeah, so I would say a definition of life sciences is everything from healthcare to research and development, looking at what we call the patient patient chain of looking at finding a cure, saving a life. So that starts with, that healthcare, that medical field, maybe being involved. And then it involves somebody that has done research on a particular medicine or medical device that can help that individual lead a better life, healthier life. It might be the company that is building the device and developing the device, taking it through clinical trials. So that's part of that. It is the IP that is surrounding it and those that help to support that. Once it makes it out into the industry, it's the companies, it's the biotech manufacturing, farm tech manufacturing, which is huge in Ohio right now, that is making multiples of that drug or that device. And then it's the companies that are shipping it out to wherever it needs to go, but also included in that family, that life science family, I'll call it, are the construction companies that are building these spaces is very unique because it has to have a certain HVAC, it has to be aseptic, has to have good quality control. And so, the construction, the HVAC, the PR and marketing, all of these people are involved in this. I would say this whole entire life science family includes agriculture, and all of the turning corn into, gasoline in your car and how that impacts everyone.
Okay, because at the first 80% of that, I was thinking human life, but we're also talking about just any biological life. So that is agriculture, that is aquaculture, all of it, right? Okay.
All of it. Yeah.
Okay.
So we even have companies that are looking for new ways to help our friendly animals at home, so that's a huge booming industry is veterinary care for our pets because we want them to live longer and better lives. And so, I think it's impact when I was in the classroom and I would say life, that meant everything with a cell, right? Everything that's considered a living
Plant life
thing.
is it outside of agriculture as well?
What?
Plant life outside of agriculture as well?
I would say anything that yeah, because a lot of our medicines are
Oh,
potentially
yeah.
plant-based and
Yep.
utilizing what the DNA sequences are from that and how it can impact human life. So connecting all of those living things together.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay, sweet. So now Ohio Life Sciences as an organization, what is that?
Yeah. I would say our biggest mission that we tell everyone is to grow the life sciences industry across the state of Ohio. And our CEO, Eddie Pauline, likes to start our weekly team meetings with, "It's a great week to save a life." So inevitably, what we're doing is supporting the industry to make sure that those things are happening. So whether that's advocacy at the state and federal level, government, making sure that there's money set aside for these things, that there's laws that are supporting finding new gene and cell therapy treatments to cure a rare disease, whether that's making sure that there is communication between all of these organizations and engaging them together so that when there's a new company that wants to come to Ohio and set up, that they know that we are ready to go. We have the infrastructure, we have the workforce, they are going to be supported in Ohio and they're going to be successful and they're going to positively impact our economy here as well.
Very cool. So we're both passionate about, I think, opportunity for young people because the young people are the lifeblood for our industries. And I'm going to save that for the end because I just am because I'm the host and I can do whatever I want. But what I do want to talk about because I'm also interested in startups and entrepreneurship, which from conversations with others around Ohio Life Sciences and that's what you just said. Now that's a major part of what you're doing, right? Your products are being developed all the time. Then you people, what are some of the challenges and opportunities right now in the startup entrepreneur ecosystem around life sciences?
Yeah, I think it's the same challenges and opportunities of any industry, of any of the sectors within the workforce and economic development within the state of Ohio. The challenge is great things are happening here and keeping them here in Ohio. It's making sure that there is money that has been set aside to encourage that development. It's costly to take something through to even develop it and to take it through clinical trial and then to manufacture multiples of those. So, having the monetary backing, the venture capital funds that understand that these new investments are important. And then once they are developed, it's convincing those companies, stay here, produce your product here, continue the research and development here. And unfortunately, Ohio is not looked at across the country as a booming life science industry space. That has historically been Boston, San Diego, even North Carolina. They put money into North Carolina 40 years ago, and a lot of people go there now. We're even seeing competition with, Indiana. They have Eli Lilly, Pennsylvania, Kentucky. And so I would say that that's one of the things that makes it very difficult. It's not for lack of innovation. I think we have some of the most amazing innovators in the state of Ohio. I think it's what happens after the idea comes to fruition and how do we keep it here and make that happen here.
So we're really good at getting companies to the point where they have something to make money with, and as soon as they get to that point, they're going someplace else to make money.
Yeah,
That doesn't sound like a very sustainable strategy, right?
correct. So that's why we have really great partnerships with local economic development organizations chambers of commerce, Jobs Ohio. We work very closely with them so that when they go look for new companies to come here or encouraging our current companies to stay here, that we can work together on those opportunities. So that has been a really wonderful relationship that we've had with them and critical for this industry.
And I'm curious, so I just did a visit over to Balance Innovation Hub over in Akron, and I know that there's innovation collaborations is Columbus elsewhere. How much interaction are you having with places like that to help with some of these ideas, the ideation, designing part of the equation?
Absolutely. Again, Ohio has done a great job of developing, I believe there's 7 sectors, industry sectors, and they've got the innovation hubs spread out all across the state of Ohio. That is definitely a place that we start. And so looking at what is happening there, how can we support them? How can we find individuals to support them? So yes, we are collaborating with them all the time. And I know that there's, even we know that there's hubs that are larger, right? And so where innovation and research and development is happening, but there's also smaller hubs that are happening all across the state. And it's making sure that we know who they are and connecting them with the right people. I'll give an example. There's an innovation hub at Ohio University in Athens. And a lot of people think, oh, well, there's not a lot of life science industry happening in Southeast Ohio. Yes, there is. And so we have to make sure that people don't forget about some of these smaller hubs in the state, and then the amazing things that are coming out of that. And how do we get that throughout the rest of the state?
Mm-hmm. So let's excite people, right? So what are some of the cool things happening in the life sciences right now that might be percolating over at some of these innovation hubs, and or some of the cool things that are existing that we want to make sure stay here?
Absolutely. So I get to go all over the state and I get to work with some amazing people. So I'll start a couple other places, and then I'm going to tell you about one of my favorites up in Northwest Ohio in Perrysburg. Yay! So one of my very first visits was to AtriCure, and they are a medical device company in Southwest Ohio in Mason. And it was established about 30 or 40 years ago. And their primary goal is to create opportunities to help patients that are suffering from AFib. And then also, if open heart surgeries are done, to help faster healing, better healing. And I really had never heard about AFib before I went to AtriCure. Maybe out in the realms, I had heard it in passing. So I go there and find out, that product has been produced there and made a state. The CEO and developer said, we will stay here in Mason. And watching that happen, I think it really hit home when my mom was found out that she is suffering from AFib. And we've been dealing with this actually the last couple of months. And because of that relationship that I've built with AtriCure, I was able to call them and say, this is who the doctors are. This is the procedures that they want to do. Is this appropriate? What else? What other options are there? And that is something that's really important, is that I'm just one person who is seeing this happen to a loved one in my family. I want to make sure that everybody knows that there are these companies here in Ohio that are helping to save lives and to make lives better. Coming up the 75 corridor, one of my other favorites in Vandalia is called Axogen. And they came here, I believe, from Florida and set up shop. And they take donated nerves, like long nerves from the body. They clean them up and then cut them into specific pieces, send them all over the world for nerve replacement surgeries. So I know that was amazing. And then ending up the 75 corridor, because I love the eastern side of the state, but I do love this western side because my heart lives over here. But up in Perrysburg is a company called Bionics, and they are doing some really great things that have actually, once the IP runs out, you can find it on Amazon and buy it in bulk. But one of the things that I thought was that when we were up there visiting that was really cool was a way to more easily and pain-free way to remove sutures after you've had surgery. So it's just little things like that that you don't think of can make such a difference in someone's life. And it's happening right here in Ohio. Started here, it's here. So that's really cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Yes, and Perrysburg is awesome. You have an event coming up, speaking of Northwest Ohio, May 7th, which is putting the pressure on me to get this thing out quickly. Just fine. I need all the motivation I can get. And that's happening on the BG campus, correct?
It is. So
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So one of the programs that I've helped to bring to fruition is called BioPathways. And this is a statewide initiative to work with Ohio's educators in grades 6 through 12 to bridge that gap between the careers in life sciences and the classroom. So using the resources that we have for the BioPathways program that have been vetted by our industry partners to make that learning in the classroom relevant to students. And what's super cool is that Bowling Green just built a brand new innovation center on campus, and we are going to host our BioPathways workshop there on Thursday, May 7th. It is an all-day event for educators. It is free for them to attend. They walk out the door with contact hours. We'll feed them lunch. And the great thing is we end the day after they have completed these activities that would actually be relevant to what is happening in the industry in Ohio right now. We send them home with resources to get them started. And at the end of the day, we actually have industry partners from across the area, Northwest Ohio, come and have, a snack and a beverage with our educators so that they can start to build those relationships. So if a teacher says, I'm teaching my students about genetics, but who in the area, is really doing this and can talk to my students? Here we go. I'm teaching about AI and the life sciences. Who's in the backyard that I could call that might have, could come talk to my students or show me something on their website or, even go through their facility for a field trip. So it's making those connections after we're done for the day.
Okay, this may be a loaded question. How is AI impacting the life sciences?
Holy cow, it is impacting the life sciences big time. I mean, from the very simple things of data analytics. I think back to when I was in college 30 years ago, and, the Human Genome Project was going on. And I think about how long that took. And now if we have someone that is doing gene and cell therapy ideas for cystic fibrosis, and they think that they have found something that can help that within a certain protein, they plug that sequence into AI and can have that data back within seconds instead of weeks or months or even years. It's also the resources. Again, people don't believe it, but AI has been around for a long time. And I think that's what people forget.
Only recently, though, it's been cost effective enough for us to make ourselves into cartoon characters and put them all over LinkedIn.
I know, right? But it also helps, I think, with that plugging ideas in and seeing what else is out there. If something kicks out from AI, that it's already existed. But not only that, you can use it for medical device development. You can use it for PR and marketing. We've got some companies that might only have 2 to 10 people. They can't hire a PR and marketing firm. They can't hire some of these boots on the ground salespeople, but they could use AI to help them to do that and to then, build their showcase so that more people want to invest in that. So I think that we're very grateful for AI in the life science industry.
Very cool. So sorry, I got sidetracked. I heard AI and I got sidetracked, but
yeah.
Back to May 7th, who should show up? I'm assuming science teachers, but who else?
Absolutely. So I think any teacher really in grade 5 through 12 that is teaching science. So I know that a lot of people say, oh, it's just for biology or just for high school AP bio. Not at all. I think that if you, especially that sweet spot of 5th through 8th grade, where kids are still malleable about what
They
they want
haven't
to
been
do.
sorted and defined yet by
Correct.
right,
So
yeah.
I think those teachers should absolutely attend, because they can take these career ideas back to their classroom. So during the day, that should who should come. In the evening for the reception, I think anyone who has a hand in this life science industry should absolutely come and meet these educators and start to build that relationship and those opportunities to keep the conversation going, to keep the lean in and the reach into inspiring these students for their future careers.
Mhm. So what are some of the things that you tried and seen work when it comes to getting kids engaged?
Yeah, I think that when I was in the classroom telling a story, I always started with a story, and it was funny. They sometimes, if I had the student a couple of times for biology and AP bio, they would be like, "It's story time," you know. But I think starting and telling that story, because inevitably, some one of those kiddos has had contact or experience with whatever the topic might be, and it makes it real for them. And then going from there. I don't think starting off and throwing 40 vocabulary words at them and, how it used to be filling out a worksheet, that's not where we start. I used to start with the story, start with the product, even showing a student, this is a medical device. This is a device that you use in science. What do you think it's used for and why? And how did you come up with it? Anything they can do with their hands, anything they can do and thinking outside the box, working together as a team, those are have always been tried and true and still important today, skills that they're going to need for the workforce.
So I've got kids, 10-year
Yep,
old, 14-year-old and older. Um, where do we take our kids right now to help them get inspired, right? Because school's school, and they're always going to think school's school. But I know here in Northwest Ohio, we've got Imagination Station, which does some awesome stuff. I mean, where are the cool places across the state where we can take kids to get them inspired?
absolutely. I think that we take them to places like Imagination Station. I think that some of our universities even have opportunities to take tours. If you call them and say, hey, I drove by and saw something cool. Do you ever let anybody come in and just, and see your lab? And I bet that they would be thrilled. Our institutions of higher education are always excited to bring people onto their
They're always
campus.
recruiting too. They're
They're
always
always
recruiting.
recruiting, but Imagination Station. I live in Dayton. We have Boonshoft Museum of Discovery,
What is it?
Cincinnati.
Hold on, sorry.
Boonshoft
Okay.
Boonshoft
Okay.
Museum of Discovery,
Okay.
and that's in Dayton. You have the Cincinnati Museum Center, COSI, and Columbus, which we have a new partnership with them that is going to impact all 88 counties across the state, and we will be collaborating with those different museums and innovation centers across the state. Take advantage of our zoos. And when you go, here's the crazy thing. So I also have kiddos. I have an 8, 15, and almost 20-year-old. So I'm living chaos just like you.
Yeah, you're right there.
Yeah.
Paying
But
for things, paying for things forever.
forever. This horrible planning on our part, horrible planning. Anyway, even if it's something small, like taking them to get their sports physical, in the summer, as soon as we get to the door, it drives my kids nuts. I start saying, look at this job. This is somebody that greets people and has to put medical information into the computer. Then we go over here and we have a nursing assistant. She takes your blood pressure. Then we have a nurse practitioner and a doctor. And then, you have to go to the lab. And so constantly, it doesn't matter where you are, even if it's at the grocery store, start talking about different careers with your students. And, Ohio is really rich and full with tons of things that kids can do. Getting outside with all of our beautiful parks and bike trails, our zoos, and all of our innovation museums and centers. It can keep them very busy all summer.
And some of those places have air conditioning.
And they have air, right?
Well, did you mention earlier something about BioPathways?
Yes. So
Yes. What's that? What's going on there?
So BioPathways is our educational resources that are available online and in person through our workshops. And that's the opportunity that we'll have at Bowling Green on May 7th. But even more important, if people want to learn more, breaking news, our brand new website just went live on Monday, and it's super easy. It's literally BioPathways, all one word, BIOPATH, WAYS, I can't spell, .science. So biopathways.science. And we have resources for educators there. We have opportunities for industry partners to connect. It'll show you all of the industry partners that are supporting this program and have participated in this program. We had a virtual field trip in the fall, and we had over 6,000 students that registered to watch the 45-minute virtual field trip in the fall. So it's awesome. And we're just getting started. It's only been around for 1 year. So yeah, we're just getting started.
Very, very cool. Very cool. So I usually ask people, because I talk to people in Toledo or Northwest Ohio, if you had one day to, somebody's coming into town, you had one day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, a place to take them and show off Northwest Ohio. You're going to be we're doing a lot of firsts here, right? This is your first podcast, as we're breaking news about the website. This is the first time I'm going to do this. So where you live or where you play, Columbus-y area, correct?
I'm just north of Dayton. So I live in
north of Dayton? Okay, so forget Columbus. Columbus gets enough attention. Just north of Dayton or around Dayton, you got people coming in to hang out for a day. How are you going to show off just north of Dayton?
Just north of Dayton. Well, I'm from Tipp City. We're right on 75. And we have a great downtown. We have amazing food. We have amazing restaurants, amazing storefronts. There's just a great sense of community. And so I would tell people, come into Tipp City, park your car, and take a walk, because we've got, it is very welcoming here. And there's always great things to discover. You could literally eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner and have evening snacks and beverages right in the same town. And so yeah, you definitely, if you're driving on 75, before you get to Dayton, stop in Tipp City.
Okay, so you're taking us on a tour of Tipp City, though. Where are we going to eat?
We're going to start at one of my favorite breakfast places. It's been around for like 50 years. It's called Sam and Ethel's. It is a small diner, not a lot of seating.
Greasy. It sounds greasy.
It is incredibly greasy. I think it's the same grease they've been using for 50 years. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Then we're going to go across the street to Coldwater Café, and we're going to have a great meal there. A lot of fresh farm to table ingredients that are used. And if you want more after that, you can go right next door to their bodega. It's they have wine, they have homemade ice cream, all kinds of great finds there. For dinner, we're gonna go to Harrison's, another small hole in the wall type thing. Great food, and then we'll go kind of down and across the street, and we will grab a beverage and talk to the local folk and catch up on all the tea at Chafee's. And the great thing about Chafee's is that they start at 6 o'clock in the morning with coffee and go till midnight with bar beverages. So And all of
Okay,
those
great.
are, yeah, it's awesome. And all of those are locally owned by people that live and give back to the community. And so to me, I like to stay here and spend my time here with our community.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Angie, is there anything else that we should talk about with you, Ohio Life Sciences, what you've got coming up, website, anything that we missed?
I think we covered everything. Basically, we have a lot going on, and if people want to learn more, now is the time. We've
If you
got
only
jobs
had a new
available.
website, if you only had a new website for people to check out. Oh, wait.
Exactly. Oh, wait, we do. Yeah. So
It will be down in the comments and the LinkedIn and the Facebook, wherever this gets spread. We'll make sure that link and any others that you throw my way exist. Looking forward to seeing you and others on May 7th at Bowling Green State University to talk about biopathways and more. And just, it's really exciting. You know, the more I talk to people across the state, I'm from Michigan. Don't tell anybody, right? I'm from Michigan. Ohio growing up got a little bit of a bum rap because obviously the whole football thing,
Yeah.
the rivalry. But there's some really, really cool stuff going on in Northwest Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, the rest of Ohio. Ohio Life Sciences is one of those cool things. So Angie, just thank you so much for sharing your time and helping us make it happen.
Thanks for having me. This was great.
Take care, folks. Be good to each other.
Bye.